Hi friends, welcome to this session, and in this video we will be learning about Docker, and we'll go through a few of the questions like what is Docker, why should one use Docker, and who should be using Docker. So if you look at the official website, what it says is a Docker is a standardized unit of software to build applications based on containers. So what it means is Docker is a tool which makes easier to create, deploy, and run applications using containers. So you might ask, if it is just create, deploy, and run, then this is what we are doing all the time, right? The developer creates the application and the operation team deploys and runs it. So how is it different? The difference is Docker tool uses a very important concept called containers, and we'll be learning about containers in our future sessions. But for now, just remember that Docker is basically a software tool, or you can call it a software platform, which is used to build applications that are based on containers. Okay, so why one should use Docker? Nowadays, it has become an industry standard where the applications are developed and deployed using Docker containers. And one of the main reasons being is Docker enables more efficient use of system resources. So just imagine, without using Docker, and if you're trying to deploy a Java-based web application, okay, on the server. So you need to make sure that you have Java installed, and if it is a Tomcat base, so you need to have Tomcat setup, and the same settings also need to be made on all other higher environments like QA, UAT, and production. So now imagine that you have multiple applications, and there are few legacy applications which uses older versions of Java and Tomcat. So just imagine how much configuration mess that server will have, and that not only makes it difficult to maintain but also difficult to manage such server. And again, those configurations and settings need to be made on all the higher servers. Again, down the line, if assume you want to decommission one of the application, so you need to make sure that deleting the application from the server, you also need to make sure you remove all the configurations and setup. That is sometime the team might miss to remove the configurations from the server, right? So Docker in that way, by using container concept, helps to maintain and manage the server more easier way. By if you look at the slide, we have a blue whale carrying all those containers. So basically you can imagine that the blue whale your server, whereas the container has your application, in our case, in our example, where each container is having one Java web application running inside it, and it has all the configuration, libraries, and related dependencies that are packaged inside the container. So that way, down the line, if you want to decommission a particular application, so deleting a container will assure that you are also removing all the configuration related to that application. So that makes it more easy way to clean, to have a clean server. So I hope these are the few reasons or use cases which makes it important to use Docker. I myself, when started learning about Docker, and now I make use of Docker so much that any application that I develop, I use Docker to deploy the application. So one more example I would like to share here is you would have come across an issue where team is facing an issue with an application uh, which is running fine in one environment and is having issue in another. And after all days in troubleshooting, team figured out that the issue was with mismatch in the configurations or settings that was present in one server but not in the other. So Docker helps fixing those kind of issues, because again the configuration is now not on the server level, but it is at the container level, and this container can now be deployed on any machine irrespective of whatever customized setting that machine has, right? So I hope now you're clear why one should use Docker. Let's move on. Who should be using Docker? So the Docker tool is designed to benefit the complete lifecycle process and can be used by developers, administrators, and operations team. And it has become one of the very important part of DevOps tool chain. For developers now don't need to focus on the machine that the application will be running on, whereas the operation team, they can now less use a number of systems for hosting the applications, so that enables more efficient use of system resources. So yes, developer, administrator, and operation team, any team can use Docker. So I hope now you are familiar with Docker, and this was an introduction session on Docker. So that's it for this video, and I will see you in the next session.